thank you. I want to thank you all in the audience for your patience and participation in Season 5, where we looked at what success means to individuals. I learned so many lessons. I also hope you learned some. I want to thank my distinguished guests for taking the time to share their knowledge and for supporting us on this journey. Perhaps you are out there and you feel you should contribute to the gift show. Perhaps you have something to share that might benefit the audience. If the answer is yes, please contact me at john@thegiftshow.com or click the link in the description. Now let's do a quick recap of Season 5. I'll be right back. Tell me, when you worked in financial services, you had one idea of success. Now that you're self-employed, you've got a different idea of success. Can you explain to the audience what those ideas of success were in financial services and now in your own business?
Oh, that's a good one. I suppose what's interesting about that is I don't know that I really did have an idea of success in my financial services role. And part of that might have been because I think, at certain times during my career, I had mentors and at other times I didn't. And, I think when you get to a stage where I had visualized myself and a picture of success was running a branch in Kilkenny City where I'm based. And when I got to that success, when I achieved that success, it was, okay, well, what's next? And it always seemed to be just climbing the ladder. But again, when I was being made redundant and I was being coached through this, that vision of success absolutely changed and wasn't at all what it used to be. So one of the things for me now that absolutely emanates success and part of my vision board, it's about two things: freedom and control. And it's about having the ability to go where I want and work where I want. So be it at home or work in person with a client. It can be to work abroad. If I want to go on holidays and take the laptop with me, that I can do that should I choose, and not being tied so much to the 9 to 5 and policies and procedures and regulations and all of those things. But having freedom. And one of the questions you asked me earlier on was about the transition between the corporate world and your own business. Something that was very freeing and liberating, two things, in fact. One was there's no more glass ceiling about how successful I can be. I don't need to wait for somebody to promote me to achieve success. And success is going to look very different now to me, when I have little wins in my business all of the time in comparison to what it looked like when I was in the corporate world. So, there's no glass ceiling to what my earnings can be is the first part. But the second bit of that, John, I'd say is if you, when you have your own business and, you want to make a change or you want to implement something new, in the corporate world, you have to run it past 10 people up the ladder to see if that's something that you can do, if it's okay, if they're happy with you running with that. Whereas in your business, just like that, with a click of a finger, you can implement change and do what you want. And so that gives me that freedom and that feeling of liberation that I didn't know I felt constrained by until I started my own business.
Describe for the audience how you measure success.
How I measure success? Oh my God. That's a tough question. So really, John, for me, it's about being aware, right? Because I'm becoming more and more conscious of looking out for, well, what is working in this situation for me? What can I do in this situation? So asking yourself empowering questions will bring you more success. And the more I become conscious of this, the more successful I am in becoming a better person. Now, I'm not always going to get it right because I'm a human being. And as I said, we're here on this earth over 10,000 years. So we're very much hardwired, you know, so it takes a lot. And then we talk about, you know, childhood traumas and all this. And, you know, a trauma could be anything from an inconvenience to a catastrophe, you know, depends on how it's perceived by that individual. So we have that going on, how we're conditioned as we're growing up as well. So we're challenged with all these new wirings, if you like, but we can unlearn all of that and relearn it again. But in my opinion, it's a matter of becoming conscious. And when you can do this, this will bring you more success. You will be likely to have more success in your life. And this is how you can measure it, by how conscious you can be and how aware. And it takes practice. And the more you do it, it's all about repetition and just practicing it. So practicing it is just doing it, and just being more aware. Practice being aware every day. Even just, you know, take what I used to do, John, was I'd set my alarm clock for, say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'd say, okay, now I have to be conscious of what's going on around me and just taking it in, rather than be busy reacting, because we're all reactive in nature a lot of the time, rather than being responsive. When you can be responsive, you are bringing it through the analytical conscious mind. So when you are more conscious and more aware, this is a measure of success, I suppose, for me personally anyway.
Rachel, can you tell the audience what success means for you?
Oh, yes. So I guess really the immediate answer that comes to my mind is to live in accordance with what I describe my soul's contract, which is to be ever evolving, true to my spirit, to enjoy the journey of life. You know, I think it's amazing and wonderful that we have goals and things that we want to achieve, and I'm all for that. But if we can't enjoy the journey along the way, because really that's all that we have, then, you know, it becomes a moot point, you know. So to enjoy the journey along the way, to remember that, you know, all of us, we're one with everything. You know, and I hope to contribute and make a difference in the world.
How do you measure success within Powering Health?
Well, there's the obvious one, and the way I've been conditioned for life, is the financial success. And then there's the success I mentioned earlier about just experiencing and working with clients and seeing how they're changing and growing through the work together, and the value they're gaining from working together. So they're probably the primary two. So I'm running a business like the same as most other small businesses are, small, medium, large businesses. You're there to have a profitable business, earn an income that helps you sustain the type of lifestyle that you want. So obviously that's the tangible of any business. But for me, I think more skewed where I am in my life right now, having done what I've done in the corporate world, having had the opportunities I've had, I'm more focused on that second aspect of the value of my business. Not that money doesn't matter. Money obviously does matter, and you need to have a profitable, successful business. But for me, the most important thing is the value that I'm seeing and the experience that gives me personally, of seeing other people benefit from working with me. So they, for me, are probably the two immediate benefits and primary things that you need to measure in a business, is the financials, obviously, but more so how the value that you're offering, and being able to actually personally experience that value in the type of work and the type of services you're delivering.
What does success mean for you, Anne?
It's a funny one, isn't it? In that many of us kind of grew up with this idea of success being something almost external, an external validation. But honestly, at this point in my life, success means being able to get up in the morning and know that the work that I'm doing really fulfills and satisfies me.
Very good.
And that the work I'm doing is making a difference in other people's lives as well. So there's that piece around what is it that I can offer. And for me, the success has come where what I'm offering is is also meeting a need in and I say the market, because I mean the market field has such a cold kind of almost like kind of a cold feel to it, but those that I want to be of service to are happy with what I am offering, and so for me that's what makes the business a success. And maybe because I started late in life in terms of running my own business. I don't think I could have run it the way that I do now 20 years ago, John. And maybe it's part of it is age as well, isn't it? It's just that sense of I'm very clear about what it is that I'm offering, and I'm very clear about the kind of person that I am. And so when I did go to market, when I did set up creative coaching, I didn't have to do much advertising, or it wasn't a big effort or a struggle to find people to work with, because in a lot of ways I had already done that work. I had done that work already, and the business in some ways was just a realization of a lot of the work that I had been doing already. So I know that's probably a very long-winded way of answering that question, but for me, success is knowing that what I offer is of value to others.
And tell me, Barbara, what does success mean for you in your business?
Success to me, I mean, I obviously love what I do.
Very good.
I'm passionate about it. And to me, success is to help as many small businesses as I can. I particularly like to focus on the small business sector, to help as many as I can to get there in terms of their brand, to get there, to really understand it and really go with it. I would love to see, I love it when my clients take it and run with it and really play it up and, create the whole experience. I love that. That just to me is just brilliant. So yeah, I see myself continuing to do this for quite a while. And I see myself getting more and more into it and more. I'd like to see myself helping more businesses, helping more small businesses. I've got some plans in the pipeline that might enable me to do that more. So yeah.
What does success mean for you in your coaching and neuroscience business?
What does success mean to me? This is one that I think has changed over the years. Success for me means that my life is in flow, that I don't feel resistance, that my coaching business, every day I'm living a life aligned with my core values, aligned with who I want to be in the world, to what my purpose and passion is, which is helping people to tap into all that hidden potential and live their best lives. So, but along with all of that, in my early days, I learned what life priorities were. So I have a list of life priorities. I have my core values. And as long as I am living and working aligned to both, and that I'm not being overwhelmed, I have a good balance. I'm not overwhelmed in my coaching business, nor am I overwhelmed in my life outside coaching, but I have a nice balance. And I continually am growing and developing myself. I'm learning from my clients, and I'm tweaking each program to be better than the program that has gone before. And I think I strive, success for me is getting better every week, every month, and continuing to learn. I think I said that at the beginning. I'm an eternal student. I'm always reading or learning, or because I think there's always something new. And I love to sort of get on top of new learnings, new teachings, new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking.
What does success mean for you in your business?
Great question. What does success mean for me in my business? I suppose every time I interact with someone, I'm trying to create a positive impact. And when I'm coaching people for a longer term, I get to really know what that impact I'm trying to create is. So having a positive impact on the people I work with. Now, that can be great. When I started out, I didn't really care about money. It's much more of a purpose in my life. But then I realized I wasn't going to be very successful in business unless there was a monetary element. So it's for success for me is where I'm reaching a lot of people. I'm creating a lot of impact, positive impact, and creating positive change that lasts, not lasting positive change, and that's highly valuable to the client, and that I'm well rewarded for it financially, so that my own needs are met.
So can you describe for the audience how your view of success has changed since you transitioned from working in the corporate sector with Aircom and then now working in Balloon HQ?
Yeah, I sure will, John. So for me, like in my 20s, I still like to think I'm 21, by the way, but in my 20s, success for me was a great job, a company car, travel, all of those things. And you know what? It was the right feeling for that time. But then I transitioned, had my children, and that's what success looked like for me, having a happy family life. And then it was moving to the next stage of, well, having that and having our own business. So success looks so different for everyone. But for me, it's about being truly happy inside, having a good night's sleep, being available and being there for my children, being there for myself and my family. And COVID has certainly taught us that with all the changes we have. So, it changes per era, if that kind of makes sense, John. And it's about, it's about having that ambition for our little business, that we're making, I suppose, a mark on our community and for our customers and for our children, and teaching them and letting them see the opportunity of yes, you can work for someone else, but what you can do for yourself and what that means. So success for me is about ultimately being happy and having a happy life.
What did success mean for you when you worked within the Best Menswears group or any other business that you worked in at the time?
For me, it was always the people, John. It was just always the people. My success came from maybe seeing a shy manager become a really confident manager. My successes came from maybe seeing somebody in what we would call a low tier store, being able to climb the ranks to holding a high tier store. Within Best Menswear, one of the big takeaways for me was the male-female ratio. It was a really male-dominated environment. It's a menswear, mostly suits, it was, all men at the boardroom, except for myself. And we never had a female hold a top position in the top store. And I fought valiantly for that because there was a girl who was just amazing. I didn't fight for her because she was a girl. I fought for her because she was good. And when I left, she was holding the top store in Dundrum as the first female manager in that store. So for me, it was always the people success that made me happy. And that's like when I go to bed at night and I think about the people that I helped progress and coach, that's better than any KPIs or numbers. And it always was.
So tell the audience, what does success mean for Nicola Connolly Byrne?
Success to me, John, means peace. Having peace in my heart, in my head, and in my soul. If you can have peace in your life, that's what success means to me. So for most people, success is the car, the address, the bank balance, all that kind of crack. No. Happiness can never come from the outside in. Happiness and peace can only ever come from the inside out. And for me, I've had to fight for peace. I've had to work really hard to get peace, but I am the owner of peace internally now, and I have to maintain that.
Tell the audience, what does success mean for you?
Well, for me, success really means staying in connection with my values and the vision that I have for myself, even in difficult moments. And because that enables me to sort of reinvent myself and to stay connected to why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, for example, I left a secure pensionable job where the days were very certain, and you know I had a certain profile there, and then you move to the unknown where it feels very opposite to that, and you're trying to move. You don't have the same support systems, or you're not sure there's certainly more uncertainty. So being able to even feel successful in those kind of moments where it just doesn't look successful. You know, it's a bit like go back to the snooker analogy, you know, feeling like you could win before you do win, you know, staying connected to you know, what you have to offer, even when the results around you don't really show the fruits of your ability or the work that you're putting in. There is this time where we have to go through, which feels like we're kind of lost, and are we going in the right direction? So for me, feeling successful, even in moments where we're not visually successful, is important.
I would love to know what success means to you, all members in the audience. Please feel free to share your views in the comments section below. And until we meet again in the next season, I wish you great success, whatever success means to you.